All right, so the second half of lesson 2 is what this video is going to be about. So we're really doing the opposite of what we did yesterday today. So this page is not in your workbook, but yesterday you'll remember that we drew the boxes, filled in the outside of the boxes, and then you had to multiply to get the inside of the boxes. Today we're really doing the opposite, and that is called factoring. So if we're given this expression, negative 15x minus 12, and you're being asked to factor that expression, that's what this video is going to show us how to do. I'm going to close the windows. It sounds pretty noisy. So the way in which we factor is we first look for the greatest common factor. So we want to look for the greatest common factor between negative 15x and negative 12. So because it's negative, I have a lot of possibilities, right? I could say this is negative 1 times 15. I could say this is negative 3 times 5. Or I could say it's the opposite, 1 and negative 15, 3 and negative 5, right? So I have all of these positive and negative factors. And then the same thing for negative 12. Negative 1 and 12, negative 2 and 6, negative 3 and 4. And then I could say the opposite is true, all of the reverse, like a positive 1 and a negative 12. Positive 2 and a negative 6, a negative 3, or excuse me, a positive 3 and a negative 4. So I'm looking for the greatest common factor between both of those. And when we say greatest common factor, I really want also to include that negative sign, potentially. So let's see, we have common factors, 3, negative 3. Right? So those would be one of the greatest common factors. Either way will work, whether you choose the positive or the negative. So I'll just choose the positive for this example. So I'm going to say the greatest common factor is 3. So what do we multiply 3 by to equal negative 15x? Well, we multiply it by negative 5, I don't know why, 5x, right? 3 times negative 5. I don't know why I put a box around that one, ignore me. And then what do I multiply negative 3 by, or excuse me, positive 3 to get negative 12? Well, positive 3 times 4 is negative 12. So if we're writing this equivalent expression, we started with negative 15x minus 12. We started with what was in the boxes. And then when we factored that to write that equivalent expression, we got 3, that would be outside of the parentheses, times negative 5x plus, nope, not plus 4, this is minus 4, negative 4. And then if I do the reverse here, if I do the distributive property, I should obviously get back what I started with. So this example wasn't in your book, but now let's turn to page 28 and look at one of them that's in your book. Okay, so this is workbook page 28. So I do like the boxes. So this one is set up for us already. This is the expression that you are going to factor using this tabular model, table model, or area model. So we're looking for the greatest common factors between 15x, 20y, or negative 20y, and 50. So since we don't have all negative numbers, we definitely want to just stick with looking at positive factors. So I like to start by listing the factors of 15. 1 times 15, 3 times 5. Now the factors of 20. 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. And now the factors of 50, 1 and 50, 2 and 25, 5 and 10, right? And with this list, I can definitely find a greatest common factor of 5. So 5 is going to be what goes on the outside of my tabular model or my area model. Now I'm asking myself, what do I multiply 5 by to equal 15x? Well, it was 5 times 3x will equal 15x. What do I multiply 5 by to equal negative 20y? 5 times 4 is 20, so 5 times negative 4y will give me negative 20y. What do I multiply 5 by to equal 50? 5 times 10 is 50. And then I can write this, choose a different color. I can write this now as an equivalent expression. So we're factoring the expression. So when all is said and done, I've factored this expression. 5, I've taken out that greatest common factor of 5, and then inside of the parentheses I have 3x minus 4y plus 10. So all I did was write an equivalent expression. I can go back and forth. Just pull this closer so there's hopefully no glare, so you can see what we did here for number 7. Okay.